Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Funny, for the second week in a row, Jeopardy is revealing the truth about what's really going on in this world. And a lot of people missed it yesterday. You had the death of two Baltimore Ravens. Tony Siragusa, veteran of the team, made a name for himself in Hollywood, being part of the sports commentary in more recent years. But Tony Siragusa, big name in the world of the NFL, known as the Goose. He's dead on the same day. Younger and more recent Baltimore Raven, Jaylon Ferguson, is also dead, both on June 22nd. And again, we just had the death of Darius Lee, the college basketball player, at the start of the week, and the media put out a picture of him wearing a Ravens t-shirt. And turns out his high school is also called the Ravens, but he was definitely wearing the NFL team Ravens logo. And then, adding insult to injury, on the same day that both of these men die, Final Jeopardy, the game show, the question was a clue from the book The Raven, where the final answer was Edgar Allan Poe, big man in Baltimore who wrote The Raven that the football team's named after. And recall last week what Jeopardy did is they had a category called Decipher Our Top Secret Code Part 2. They did this Monday, June 13th. And let me zoom it way in here. Let me see if that's big enough. Let's see. Okay. So if you can make that out on the far right side, Decipher Our Top Secret Code Part 2. And it says one possible answer. And then the clue is 1415. And 14 is the letter N using the alphabetic order, where A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, E is 5. If you keep counting up, N is the 14th letter, O is the 15th letter. So one possible answer, the answer for that is no. N-O, the 14th letter, the 15th letter, like the clue is 1415. And then the next one is precious commodity. And again, the clue is 7, 15, 12, 4. Well, the 7th letter is G, the 15th letter is O, the 12th letter is L, the 4th letter is D. So you have G-O-L-D, gold. And then next one is this little light in a gas-powered appliance. The clue is 16, 9, 12, 15, 20. The 16th letter is P. The 9th letter is I. The 12th letter is L. The 15th letter is O. The 20th letter is T. So pilot light. And the next one is a reddish brown. You have 21, which is U. You have 13, which is M. You have 2, which is B. You have 5, which is E. You have 18, which is R. So you have umber. And then the last one is vascular plant part 24, 25, 12, 5, 3. 24 is X, the 24th letter. 25 is Y, the 25th letter. 12 is L. 5 is E. 13 is M. So you have X, Y, L, E, M. Xylem. Gematria, a category completely dedicated to gematria. And they did this on the day leaving 201 days left in the year, that number that's very special to the Jesuits. Well, they did call it Part 2. Part 1 actually happened last year on September 21st, which is the day leaving 101 days left in the year. Think about when you first take a class, an entry-level class, it's 101. Then when you pass that class, sometimes you have to take the second-level class, and that's 201. And sometimes you have to take the third-level class, which is 301. But the first one was the exact same thing. Decipher our top secret code, and then that's affirmative. So the first one was 25519. Y is the 25th letter. E is the 5th letter. S is the 19th. It was yes. They went from yes to no. It's proverbially done to a cold, and then they have 6554, F, E, E, D, feed. You feed the cold. What do they say? Starve a fever, feed a cold? Something like that. Michael Jackson sang of being it, 214. The second letter, the first letter, the fourth letter, B-A-D, bad. Again, gematria, right? So you got the song out there, Gematria, the killing name. You got Jeopardy now paying tribute to gematria. You got two Ravens dead on the exact same day that the day Jeopardy's final clue is about Edgar Allan Poe, who wrote The Raven. So let me reveal back here real quick. Shout out to Miss Mildred. I finally got it framed. And let me make that bigger. But again, this is another piece of entertainment that's super important to what's going on in the world. So let me make that bigger so you can make it out. Again, that's the movie poster for Murder by Numbers. Again, thank you, Miss Mildred. She probably sent that to me 2 years ago. Finally got it framed, but we'll keep it back there because, again, we're making the same reference all the time. And if you look carefully, still might be more effective just showing the computer screen because it's even bigger when we put it on the screen. But you can see that the E in murder is made into a 3. And it's hard to say in the by because it's so small, but you can definitely see it in the numbers. You can see that the B is made into an 8. 3, 8, 8, 3. And as we know in Gematria, like there's the song Gematria, the Killing Name. Again, Gematria, the Killing Name. Gematria is the practice of coding numbers into words. In 1983, there's the song Murder by Numbers by the Police, where killing's the sport of the elite. It's as simple as ABC is 1, 2, 3. Remember, Jeopardy did the alphabetic order forwards. The other half is just doing it in reverse, and then the other part of the code is doing it forwards and backwards with numerology. But remember, with regards to that 3-8 being on the cover, also in the death of Jaylon Ferguson, they had to mention that he played 38 games for the Ravens. 38. And if you're new here, Gematria. Again, so simple like we were just doing. Notice the word murder. I'm going to get rid of one of the 3 out of 4 ciphers. There are 4 base ciphers, alphabetic order forwards and backwards with numerology. Notice how murder has that gematria of 79 forwards, 83 in reverse, also 38. Notice what happens when I write Ravens. 79, 83, 38. The exact same in all ciphers. Ravens, murder. And the one player played in 38 games. And you know what? Even though that poster's back there, let me just pull this up because there's a detail that I can't quite make it big enough for you to see. But this is the same poster that's behind me. Notice how the orange numbers around the words are 7 and 9. 7 and 9. Okay? We just saw the death of Ray Liotta 83 days before De Niro's 79th birthday. Again, they're both in Goodfellas together. Movie's 146 minutes. Ray Liotta dead on the 146th day of the year. Plus the way they synced it up with the Field of Dreams game, where the matchup of those teams also played the day he died. The score was 20-5, like Shoeless Joe Jackson equals 205, the character he played in Field of Dreams. And anyhow, just with regards to murder by numbers, the repetitive numbers, the numbers that are right there in that poster, 798338, you got it with both these guys. And again, in Jaylon Ferguson's case, they even had to say he played in 38 games. So, going deeper into this, if you watched yesterday's video, I did a video before they put out the news about Tony Siragusa covering the death of Jaylon Ferguson and the relationship with Edgar Allan Poe. We talked about this before Siragusa's death, before Jeopardy had it for Final Jeopardy, because for years I've been talking about the deaths of Ravens, the rigging of Ravens games, and the rituals with Edgar Allan Poe. It's a long, ongoing theme. And I want you to see just how sick this stuff is, just how perfectly coordinated this is. Siragusa played for the Colts and the Ravens, which is interesting because the original Colts were in Baltimore. It's now the Baltimore Ravens and the Indianapolis Colts, but they've always done rituals with these two teams together. And we're going to talk about how this is synced up with the coach of the Colts, these deaths of these players, and, shout out to Richard, and also the death of the Baltimore coach, John Harbaugh. And notice Harbaugh's birthday is September 23rd, okay? September 23rd. I'm just going to put up all base ciphers. There are 4. But notice how Saturn has that gematria of 93 in the most simple cipher, the alphabetic order. If I read out the Raven, it's 93. Both of these men died yesterday, 93 days before Harbaugh's upcoming birthday on September 23rd. And somebody did do some measurements, but I think they measured from the wrong Harbaugh brother. Remember, John beat Jim in Super Bowl 47. That was the Ravens over the Niners, the Blackout Bowl, and John equals 47, the winner of number 47. But yesterday was June 22nd. And again, Harbaugh's birthday, September 23rd. So both men died 93 days before Harbaugh's birthday, the coach of the Ravens. And again, they're named after the poem The Raven. And again, The Ravens 93. And what's interesting is the poem is about Lenore, the woman who dies in December in the poem. But it doesn't clarify which day she dies in December. If she died on December 22nd through 31st, that's ruled by Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is the planet with the strong 93 connection. And I've been educating about this pattern for a long time. In 93, on February 26, 226, you had the 93 World Trade Center bombing. This date that this happened, 93 days before Harbaugh's birthday, can be written 22/6, like 226. And if you spell out 226, if you write it out, it does have gematria of 93. And in Jewish gematria, which is the most important cipher outside the base ciphers, if you write out planet, it's 226. And we see these rituals with 226 and 93 come together quite a bit. I've talked about it many times in the 9 years I've been doing this. It's documented in my first book, Letters and Numbers, which, that part of the book was probably written in mid-2017, more than 5 years ago now. So these are patterns that we've understood for a long time, and they continue to persist. And this example right here might be the most undeniable just because you got two players, you got Jeopardy. But notice this also, John Harbaugh's full name. It's 93 days before his birthday. John William Harbaugh, his name is 93. You see that? 93. 93. And notice when I write out Order of Illuminati, it's 93. It's also 201, and as we'll talk about, this happened 201 days after the Indianapolis coach's birthday. And Indianapolis is the only 201 city in America. And last year with Indianapolis, on Saturnalia, Ryan Patrick Kelly, who's a lineman for the team, he lost his child on Saturnalia 201 days after his own birthday. Ryan Patrick Kelly's 201. And if you write out Saturn worship, it's 201. And if you write out Saturnian order, it's 201. And if you write out sacrifice to Saturn, it's 201. Okay. So that's a big part of it. And I'm trying to figure out, if anybody can figure out for sure, if the information's out there in the Raven, you can find the exact date that Lenore dies, who the poem's about. I would love to know the exact date. If it's December 22nd through December 31st, I mean, that's just another big check mark, because that's Capricorn, which again is ruled by Saturn. And the day of these deaths was the day leaving 192 days left in the year. And notice also John William Harbaugh. We just talked about the 93 part, but look at 192. In the most simple cipher, 192, with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology, 93. And for people who are new here, it wasn't until the end of 2016 where I started talking about reverse gematria, because I wasn't even aware of it. But just knowing the two ciphers on the left, we were able to decode almost everything in the news, make accurate predictions. It's just, you learn the reverse ciphers, you see the other half of the code. Like, the piece I'd be missing if I didn't talk about that is I wouldn't see how Lenore has the 93 connection as well. And it makes sense, because Mithra's 93, and Jesus is a lot like Mithra. They're both sun gods. They say the sun is 93 million miles away on average. And if you write out God's sun, it's 93. And crucifix is 93, like the cross that's used to represent the seasons and the place of the sun. And Nazareth, the place in the sky that's also Jesus' birthday, is another 93. Coming back to the Raven, do you see how it's 93 and 39? Tony Siragusa died 39 days after his birthday. 39 days after his birthday. You could also say he died on his 40th day of his age, which goes with his nickname, the Goose, which equals 40. And he died on the 173rd day of the year, which is the 40th prime number. And again, that's why you always got to look at the days after the birthday and the day of the age, because so often both numbers fit in perfectly with the ritual. And by the way, Tony Siragusa's, shout out to Jeremy White. Tony Siragusa's birth name, Anthony Siragusa, is 192, dead on the day, leaving 192 days left in the year. And again, he started out with the Indianapolis Colts, which is also 192. Part of me looks at that and wonders if it could have something to do with the next pope. The next pope will be 267. But yeah, shout out to Jeremy White. He's been here since before Super Bowl 50 days. That's when he found out about gematria. And again, Tony Siragusa, NFL player, commentator, actor, TV shows like The Sopranos, movies like The 25th Hour by Spike Lee. He plays a Ukrainian man in The 25th Hour, which is interesting. Kind of reminds of Alec Baldwin killing the Ukrainian woman 201 days after his birthday and 93 days before the anniversary of Bruce Lee's death, who died while filming Game of Death, who died on the 201st day of the year. And then his son, Brandon Lee, died filming The Crow, which equals 38, like death, murder, killing, R.I.P. And in the same way that his dad is shot in the plot of Game of Death is the way Brandon Lee supposedly died in real life, and then Brandon Lee was buried on the 93rd day of 1993, which was Alec Baldwin's birthday. 93-201 in the Baldwin ritual, the Brandon Lee ritual, the Bruce Lee ritual. Same stuff over and over in history, because all of this stuff is synced up with astrology and numerology, and it's the same gang in charge that's doing it over all the years, making history repeat itself. And I was looking at the movies Tony Siragusa's in. The last movie he was in is called Cubed. The cube represents Saturn. That's because a cube is six-sided, and Saturn is the sixth planet. Go back and see when 6 of the top 10 teams lost on Saturday in this past college basketball season. Go back and watch that video. But Saturn in the most pure cipher is 21. 21 is the sixth triangular number. If you add 1 through 6, it equals 21. Saturn's the sixth planet. The cube, six-sided, again, represents Saturn. Think about the Tops shooting in New York on a Saturday named after Saturn, on Israel's birthday that was drawn up on September 3rd in history. State of Israel's 201. Saturn real big in the Old Testament. The Sopranos is full of it too. I got to go back someday and rewatch The Sopranos with what I know now. So, anyway, I don't want this video to be too long. If you missed yesterday's video on Jaylon Ferguson, not only did he play 38 games, but he died 163 days after the last Ravens game of the season, as did Siragusa, which is the 38th prime. Again, death, murder, killing, R.I.P. They're all 38. Again, murder by numbers got that 3-8 right there. Murder 3883. Look up the lyrics to Murder by Numbers from 1983. Read the lyrics to the song. The movie stars Sandra Bullock, 83. It came out 38 weeks after her birthday. The movie released on Ignatius of Loyola Day. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius of Loyola equals 201 like the Jesuit order. Again, the movie came out 38 weeks after her birthday. Hold on, it was 267 days. Where did I just see 267 a second ago? Indianapolis Colts. That's weird. I'm out to 267. I think that's a Philadelphia area code. I might have to look into that number more because we are coming up on the time of the 267th Pope, the next. By the way, with regards to the Murder 79 piece, the Agatha Christie novel, the ABC Murders, about killing by ABC 123, that's another 79. It's got the same gematria as Society of Jesus. Ignatius of Loyola, dead in 1556. But yeah, here's the one other piece to bring up, actually. I should bring up one other piece about this that's important. Again, this stuff was figured out over years of research and looking at this. This stuff was not figured out overnight. Here's the picture of Darius Lee from Monday. He was the news Monday, his murder. But okay. From the birthday of Edgar Allan Poe, January 19th, to wait a minute. So many things to keep straight. Okay, actually, so Jaylon Ferguson was in the news for his death yesterday. The news did break yesterday, June 22nd, but he actually died the day prior. And then Tony Siragusa dies on the 22nd. But both stories of two Ravens and the Jeopardy thing all on the same day, June 22nd. And so look at this. The first man to die died June 21st, the summer solstice, which relates to the sun, which is said to be 93 million miles away on average. They call Saturn the black planet, or the black sun in the occult. They both have the 93 connection. Aleister Crowley, who wrote books about gematria and was very much into the occult, he had the religion Thelema, which worships the number 93. But from Edgar Allan Poe's birthday to the death of this young man was what would have been his 154th day of his age. That means June 22nd would have been his 155th day of his age or 154 days after his birthday. So both the 21st and the 22nd had the 154 connection, and they both fit in with the deaths of these two Ravens, Siragusa and Ferguson. Now, the thing about 154, and this is something I finally connected in recent times. Let me see when I dated this post. This is the night it all came together. Wow, God, that was over a year ago now? I thought it was sooner than that. Time is just flies, you guys. Okay, so May 1st, 2021. So more than a year ago, I finally came I was just looking at it, I was like, wait a minute, there's something more to 154 that I have not been acknowledging. It's bigger than just ritual sacrifice. So notice when you write out 93 as a number, when you spell it out, it equals 154, right? 93 has that 154. It's interesting that Siragusa is dead at 55, in light of it having that connection as well. But these other words, if I read out Saturnalia, again, that's the celebration of Saturn that Pope Francis is born on. He's Mr. 201 himself, but Saturnalia 154. And if you write out Saturn's cube, again, how it's symbolized, that's also 154. And this star of Remphan, which is used to represent Saturn, it's also 154. And the word illuminate itself is 154. And again, that kind of just fits in with the whole Jesuit thing, because the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt founded the Illuminati that's into all this occult knowledge. And again, you got to think the first Jesuit pope's born on Saturnalia. His birth name's 201, like Saturn worship, like Saturnian order, like sacrifice to Saturn. So many deaths connected to Pope Francis in 201. And again, it's just like yesterday. 201 days from the Colts coach's birthday, 93 days from the Baltimore coach's birthday. And again, look at order of Illuminati. 201, 93. 93 in the heliocentric model is the distance of the sun from Earth on average in terms of millions of miles. And again, heliocentrism is another big fat 201. It's also 150, just like the word Illuminati, and they say the sun's 150 million kilometers away on average instead of miles. So isn't it nice how that works out with the language? Where here in this English-speaking nation, we recognize both the system we use and the metric system. And remember, when Baldwin shot the woman in the church scene in Rust, which sounds like Russia, shot the Ukrainian woman in the church shootout scene of Rust, they said he shot her at 1:50 p.m. Remember Matthew McConaughey with the green Converse, 1:52:01. The shooting happened in Uvalde, his hometown, 201 days after his birthday. Then he's talking about the green Converse 150 days before his upcoming birthday. Again and again, the patterns, the rituals, actors, the world's a stage, your number's up. Again, you start thinking about all these phrases we have in society, and you start looking at what's going on, and you realize, this is kind of, we were being clued into these things. We learned the alphabetic order as children. A is the first letter, B is the second, C is the third, but nobody ever told us what the point of knowing the alphabetic order was. Surely it wasn't just to memorize the letters, because the song could have gone anyway. Could have gone K, F, L, Z, J, P, O. You could have learned it that way, but that's not the way it goes. So, anyhow, with regards to football and it being about more than football, earlier this year we talked about the Super Bowl and Sean McVay having the Ukrainian fiancé as the Rams with the gold and blue, like the Warriors win the championship. And, things are just making more and more sense by the day, because today the European Union decided to begin the process of making Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia members of the not the United Nations, but the European Union. And with regards to Georgia, remember, Georgia won the college football championship this year. Matt Stafford played at Georgia in his college days, and then he won the Super Bowl this year with the Rams. And you might recall that the Super Bowl is on the 44th day of the year, and Georgia equals 44, and Matt Stafford's 44. He became the 34th quarterback to win a Super Bowl at age 34 when Ukraine's 34. Military is a big 44 word. But just seeing this today about Ukraine and Georgia in the headline, I just thought, okay. by the way, today's the 174th day of the year. New World Order's 174. Today leaves 191 days left in the year. Society of Jesus 191. It's 258 days after the head of the EU's birthday. And again, the other big Illuminati number that comes up a lot in their rituals is 258. 258 days after her birthday. And again, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, said on Twitter, very pleased with the leaders' endorsement of our opinions, Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia. And so what's funny is there's 27 countries in the EU right now. If these three get admitted, there'll be 30. And remember, this conflict began 30 years after the Soviet Union dissolved. It dissolved Christmas Day 91. 30 years and a couple months later, right before Gorbachev's 91st birthday, the last leader of the USSR, this military conflict begins. Then you have these countries trying to enter NATO, but Turkey ruins it to keep it on 30 member states. Now it looks like the European Union's going to 30 after this conflict, 30 years in the making. Saturn's return is debated to be between 27 and 30 years, just with the whole Saturn thing. Look into the return of Saturn. Some people think it's 27 years. Some people think it's 30. I'm not an expert in astrology, so I couldn't say, but I just know that those numbers are commonly associated with Saturn. So here we're talking about going from 27 to 30. And then the part of this that could be coincidental but boggled my mind. Well, actually, here's the part that's not coincidental. We already talked about this when they met earlier this year in Aries, NATO did, in the time of the Ram, after the Rams win the Super Bowl. But Rams equals 30. Rams equals 30, with the whole 30 theme. But today's 136 days after Matt Stafford's birthday, and if you write out Ukraine, Moldova, and Georgia, the three countries, it equals 136. I was like, man, I want to think that part's a coincidence because it's too mind-blowing. And again, he became the 34th QB to win a Super Bowl at age 34, and Ukraine equals 34. And today's 149 days after Zelensky's birthday. That's the number 201 in base 12 counting. And yeah, there's the president of the EU. For the record, Order of Illuminati, 258, 201. The Jesuit order has the 201, also the 69, like European Union's also 69, like Catholic Church is 69. I forgot to write it up there, but New World Order is 69, and so is Illuminati. Here, we'll just go through it all right now. Illuminati alone, 69. European Union, 69. New World Order, 174 and 69. Again, today is the 174th day of the year. Catholic Church, 69. The Jesuit Order, 69. And you know what else? Just the whole Saturn thing? Saturn's got a 69 in it as well. So, and I mean, people just know the magic of that number anyway. The old 69. So, her birthday is the day leaving 84 days left in the year, like Jesuit. So, today is also 119 days after the conflict began. All-seeing eye number. Another one of their big magical numbers. World Trade Centers didn't collapse on 11/9. Berlin Wall didn't fall on 11/9 by accident. You know, people got a numerical language they speak in. But yeah, again, this is football related too. Don't forget that was the 102nd NFL season that the Rams won. Art of War equals 102. World War equals 102. The conflict began exactly 102 weeks after coronavirus began, and they said coronavirus was the worst pandemic since Spanish flu of 1918, 102 years earlier, which came out of World War I. All the 102 stuff we covered with COVID, a lot of it. Huge Jesuit numbers. Again, the Jesuits translated Art of War. And again, it's more proof that it's the Jesuits who are doing all this. They're the only ones who have the capability. They got the worldwide infrastructure. We're on their calendar. We're speaking the language that's credited to their monk. You know, the rituals day after day are synced with the Pope. Just like the rituals with the killing of those men was 187 days from the Pope's birthday. 187th day of his age, and then 187 days after his birthday. Number of homicide and killing, big number of the Jesuits. The Raven, about death, tragedy. The other thing about Siragusa wearing 98, this year's NFL season begins on 9/8. And In my research, that number has a lot to do with prophecy. The Ravens are the team that won the Super Bowl before 9/11, and then Brady, of course, won it after. So 98 is a big number with old Tom Brady, too. The Jesuit puppet pawn NFL star prophecy, I suppose. But anyway, we'll keep it short and sweet. Got to get back on the grind. Get excited to finish the book. But also want to make sure this video's out there. So, again, thank you to everyone who hits the like and the share. And I see Eric B's comment. Lenore started off being called a paean. Thou diedest in the life's June. But that old English way of speaking is too much for me. But yeah, if we can find the exact day that she died on, if that's information out there somewhere, I want to. My guess is that if we find it, it's going to be between December 22nd and 31st, because that's Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. So again, that's the piece of information if anyone can find it. What day did Lenore really die? That's the inspiration for the Raven. Is that information out there? All right. Until next time, Truth Seeker.